Now, to talk about the conclusion, I see this a lot, so I need to talk about it. All right, so I've shared my screen again. I hope you can all see it. Now, what I want is for you guys to take a minute to read both conclusions, conclusion 1 and 2. Tell me which one you like and why. Which one is more appropriate and why? Now, you are applying to the US. You are applying for a position in the US that will fund you through a graduate assistantship, either teaching or research. So which one would you think is more appropriate? So it's okay if you unmute and talk about it. So someone said 2, someone said 1. Okay.
The number 1 is
Number 1. Good.
I would prefer number 1.
All right.
I'll actually be going with number
I'll
1.
go for number 1.
Number 1 as well.
All right. Okay.
I'll choose number 1.
Number 1. I will choose number 1.
I will choose number 1 too.
Good.
I'm okay.
I'll choose number 1 because he's showing how after his program he's going to give back to his country or community.
All right. So I just shared a poll. If you can just click. So I just want to get a good sense. So that's a good response. Samuel, you raised your hand. Do you want to give an answer? Or you can just use the poll.
Yeah, I've used the poll. Thank you. I actually want to say number 1.
Number 1, good.
Number 1, sir, because the candidate is defining both the short term and long term goal, which is right, as we've been taught.
In number 1, right? Don't you think the second person did that as well? All right, so let's end the poll. So it looks like majority said number 1. All right, I'm going to end the poll. So can you all see the results of the poll?
Yes.
Okay, I just shared. All right, so 76% said number 1, 24% said number 2. All right. I'm glad I brought this up because in my opinion, I don't know if my co-host today would agree.
I would number 2, right?
Right. So I would think the appropriate thing to do for a US position is number 2. So I see a lot of good students do this. I actually reviewed a statement of purpose recently that did exactly what number 1 did. Now, I think it's risky to do number 1, and I'll tell you why. You are applying to a US position. The position you're applying for will probably be funded through an assistantship, right? So this professor has been given a research by the National Institute of Health, a US government agency, to do some kind of research that will benefit the US or people in that state or in that town. Now you are coming to work on this project and you'll be trained to do this, and you are telling me you are going to take that knowledge and go back to Nigeria, okay? Of course, it's a very lofty goal. It's good, it's sweet, but do they want that? Is that the mission of that university or that department or that particular project? The truth is you don't know. You would have no idea what the goal is. So it's very risky to do this on an SOP that you are going to use for a US position. Now, this would be great if you're applying to a Commonwealth scholarship to the UK, because of course they want you to go back to Nigeria, or the Erasmus scholarship. This is perfect. But for a US position, you don't, of course, nobody will stop you if you are going to Nigeria, if you want to go back to Nigeria after your study. But you have to think about the goal of the project. Why should they give you this money? They are probably going to be paying you 20-something thousand per year to, train you, and then you finish and take that knowledge back. So it's okay. I think it's safe for you not to tell them that. Okay, you can do that after. Nobody will stop you, like I said. But in order to get into the room, in order to get the door open for you, you need to tell them what they need to hear. And it's okay if you don't, like the second one, I think it's short and sweet. Didn't make any promise to anybody, right? Just stated his goal and how this environment would help achieve that goal. But the first one, I think it's a little bit too risky. And I see a lot of good students do this. And I don't know if that's why they were rejected, but it could be because, let me tell you, among all countries, US is one of the most selfish countries. They want everything for themselves. For example, recently, most of you know that I want a grant. Nobody gives you $1 million to learn something and take it back to another. Nobody will do that. Okay, so you have to tell them that, okay, you're here, you're going to do this, and you're going to use it to benefit the US. You don't have to say you use it to benefit the US. I'm just saying in my case, I had to argue that. But in your case, you don't have to, do what conclusion one did. And this was a very good student that has constantly been rejected for US positions, and we are trying to revamp it for this. Hopefully, she will get in this time. So I would suggest you don't do what conclusion one did for US positions. Okay? What do you think? Olamide or Ifeoluwa?
Yes, I definitely would go for the second one. Sitting on the fence in such an instance is better. So, and I saw someone in the chat saying one may be a best fit for probably if you're applying for your visa. But of course, here applying for visa is quite different, very significantly different from when you are selling yourself to the graduate application selection committee. So you have said it all, sir.
Good. Yeah, visa is a different thing. During your visa, everything has to come back to Nigeria or to your country, wherever you're coming from. So that's a great point. But your average professors here don't know anything about visas. So they are just saying who is the best fit for this research. And if you go to a department's web page, most departments will have their own mission or vision. And even if they don't, the university as a whole will have their own mission and vision. So if you are writing things that doesn't really align with that mission, they will probably not give you the opportunity. Okay. So yes, that's what I have. So I can see that most people are using number one. So please don't make that mistake. It's risky for US opportunities.
So let me just add one thing more to this. So like I said that I go with number two. For example, depending on the kind of research you do, there are some kind of equipment you'll be using here that probably maybe we only have maybe one or two in Africa, or probably we don't even have. So after your PhD or your grad studies, and you tell them you are going back. So some professors will think like, oh, I know we only have just 4 of these equipment in the world. So where do you want to use this scale?
Right.
So that's why you want to at least stick with number 2.
Good. So that's another good point. So if they are thinking is if your government if you really want to do this, you should bring your own scholarship from your country. Again, the US is a very selfish country, which is good. Every country should do that. So you have to tell them what they need to hear. Okay. All right. So let us take questions for the next 1 hour, if my co-hosts are still available. So please use the hand button. Raise your hands, and we can take questions.